finger at me, but don't know why. She waited.
There's a fire beneath my skin. There's a fever that makes me ill. Gotta love that kills. I got 24 hours to live. Come back. I'm down on my knees. Come back. I'm begging you, please.
Nosfero is a supernatural hero that is a cross between The Shadow, Peter Cushing's Abraham Van Helsing, and Lovecraft's Henry Armitage. The lone surviving member of the Secret Order, he is sworn to battle a cult of vampires dedicated to opening the door to the eldritch gods they worship. Striking from his crypt lair deep within an impenetrable mire, Nosfero collects the cult's various grimoire and artifacts in an attempt to learn the means of defeating them. Supernatural abilities allow Nosfero to summon Phantomas, a giant phantom hound that can travel through the nether to and from any location when needed. Nosfero's world is forever changed when he rescues a beautiful young maiden named Laurel from one of the cult's vile sacrificial rituals. Nosfero the Cryptwalker Volume 1 is my third Indiegogo campaign and will be a fully painted and lavishly illustrated pulp adventure story. Sensational, vivid, and uncompromisingly aspirational storytelling with an edge. Don't miss your chance to back Nosfero the Cryptwalker Volume 1. Available for a limited time only on Indiegogo. What is up, everybody? Good to see you. Let's see what we've got in the chat here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, great show, Jeremy. I was just enjoying it. I was one of my favorite things to watch. I was working and getting set up for this one while your show was going. So let me see what we've got here. We have got D-Wag here. Hail, D-Wag. We have got Zaid Comics. We have got Shadowhawk Backs. Good to see you. We've got Apex Comics. We have got Mo Biggs. Mo Biggs, it's great to see you. And yes, hail the chat. We have got Felix Haas. Good to see you, my friend. And let's see who else we've got here. Oz the Great Sage. Good to see you. Na. Love that. This opening, man, Shanth is my soul brother. Well, you are, I am honored to have you as my soul brother, and you can consider yourself one. There you go. Let's see here. We have got Helmo Biggs, and everybody's here. Jeremy, Lord Crackhead 33, what is up, my brother? Let's see here. Who else we got? Mighty Geek Studios, it's good to see you. And let's see here. Jeremy Burt's good to see you. Yes. Stephen Worcester, good to see you. And let me see who jumped on me for a second here. I think I got Jeremy. Steve Worcester, good to see you. And yeah, that looks like it's it. Hey, what's up, guys? It's good to see you. And this is me roughing in a page right now. So I'm working on this action page from Nosfero, and I've been things have been nuts with the holidays. Good to see you. Good to see you. It is Chi1. I can never, let me see if I can pronounce that. Oh God, you're gonna have to put that out for me, man. I can't possibly imagine how I'm gonna pronounce that, but you are here. I'm back. No. So yeah, multi-touch is killing me, man. Gig, there you are. It's good to see you, man. I just had to step out for a second. I had to take myself outside. No, you don't even understand. I was like, let me go move this thing, and then just swiped. That's how it works on my computer. God bless America. So this right here, if I can get that a little bit better in focus. Yeah, so please stand by. So this right here is how I start out when I'm roughing in my stuff. I know a lot of people, let's see if I can move that to a little bit better of an angle here. So when I lean forward, I'm not completely gone. You guys get a good view of my nose. But yeah, a lot of you guys have asked me about the process and about how I work. And this roughing in phase is one of the parts of the job that I don't typically do on stream. So I thought I might as well. For those of you guys who do your work in, I wish the lighting was a little bit better on this. I don't know what the deal is with this camera, but I have a little bit of trouble. There we go. That's a little better. me see if this helps. Sometimes I have something to autofocus. Hey, what's up, B-Rose? Good to see you. Will this adjust it? No, that's as good as it's going to get. But when I'm doing this phase right here that you're seeing, if you think about it as working in digital, it'll help you to understand it better, because I think that what tends to freak people out the most about traditional media, and when they see, work like the finishes, is they think they, one, can't make mistakes, and they think the looseness of work that they do when they're working in digital cannot be done in traditional, and that's actually what makes it so intimidating for people when they're working. And so that's a huge part of it for me. Well, thank you for the kind words there, Mighty Geek Studios. I would say I've gotten over the nerves surrounding using a brush, to be sure. And I think that's what sort of comes off, is understanding things more, but it really is about breathing. The first time, my father-in-law used to, God rest him, used to love to go golfing. And he took me golfing once. I'd never been before, didn't know anything about it. Took me to like a par 3 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And stepped up to the green. He kind of walked me through the process. And, used a driver and took a swing and landed the ball. I think it was like, a couple of feet from the hole. And that's the best golf I ever played, because that was the last time I didn't think about it. After that, it was all downhill. And that's pretty much how this stuff goes for me, which is, it's not to say this is my first time doing it, but the hardest thing in the world to me is to keep that sort of, or to get that relaxed aspect to it. So here is why you've never seen me do this on stream, because even after putting the time in that I have to get to the point where I'm reasonably comfortable, not even reasonably comfortable, I'm actually pretty comfortable painting and doing this kind of work, I'm still getting to the point to where I'm comfortable doing it on a stream, because that's a huge factor. How are you going to walk and chew gum, so to speak, and then paint while people are watching? You kind of have to shut that stuff out. So I've had some practice doing that when I was working as an educator, but it's not the same thing at all, because this is, CG, and it's something I've been looking forward to doing for such a long time that, it's pretty crazy to be doing it now and actually doing it for real. So this is just to get a sense of scale, there's my hand. This is a painting that I'm basically showing a decapitated vampire head tumbling down after the lead hero has just taken it down. And so for those of you guys wondering what's happening in the panel before, this guy is having a pretty rotten day. And this guy right here is having an equally rotten day as the sword gets brought around and goes through him. So you're going to be seeing some pretty crazy stuff in this book. And this is like, I really wanted to get an action scene down, because I've been watching a lot of stuff lately. And one of the things I've been watching, and the boys were talking about, different things last stream. I think they mentioned The Witcher, but I've been watching The Witcher, and I didn't know anything about The Witcher before the HBO series. And the thing about it that was kind of interesting to me is I got into reading the books. I saw the series, I enjoyed it, but I was curious to learn about what the books were like. And there was something that was so incredibly, what's the word I'm looking for? It was that perfect blend of highbrow and lowbrow that I like. So that's one of the things that was kind of cool about that story. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Let's see here. Mighty Geek Studios, getting used to streaming while working is like learning to use a brush. Patience is everything. And that is exactly right. And that's, everybody has told me that. And starting with John Malin and all those guys saying, look at our early streams and look at how rough it starts out. And even though I might not be able to notice it, I trust what they're saying. And the thing about it is that, just coming off of the last stream, Jeremy and Rob and Steve were doing such a great job talking about it, is that it really is important to focus on and think about it in terms of the diligence. Oh, cool. The games take place after the books. That's cool. I didn't know that. But I'm really curious everybody I know who is into the games is really into the games. People who are into The Witcher seem to be super into it. And for me, even though I haven't been a reader up until recently, the audiobooks of the translations were a really good jumping on point for me after I watched that first season, because I couldn't really tell a lot of what was going on and it was a little bit tricky for me to follow. And you can kind of see that, at this point, when I'm roughing things in, it's very sketchy, guys. I mean, it really is just roughing in those big forms and trying to figure it out. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Nana says, love the energy. I appreciate that. Rough cuts are still cuts that will still roll. You're acceptable. That's right. Yeah, it's funny too, because it's like trying to keep that energy in with this is so important. Oh, no kidding. Let's see. Drop some love for your book in a live stream before Christmas, and boom, you're yeah. Oh, seriously, I really, really appreciate that, guys. Things have been crazy on Nosfero, and I will say this is that I love this project so much, and I really I was so I had the best time. I know I said this before, but I think my favorite experience that I've had in CG, and I've had a lot of great experiences, let me be clear, was doing my first closeout stream with the Goblin Girl. That was such a fun and rewarding experience, just to kind of get to see, other people's reactions to, their campaign, and to not be thinking about the funding, or not the funding period, because I'll be funding until this thing is done. It's like it's a constant sort of thing. But just to see people closing out their first, I think it was 60 days, was a really great experience, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And it's been great to see how that book has been doing. But yeah, we were thrilled. Like, my wife woke up and I said, babe, we crossed 18K. And I would love to thank Arrogant Ape for a lot of that too. Oh, pissed you missed it. Zay, yeah, don't worry, brother. I totally understand. So, yeah, Phil is the man. Actually, Phil, I should send you a link if you want to come in here too. I've been sending some links out. You don't have Phil. Let me know if you feel like coming in here, and I'll send you a link, man. I'll send a link to your Twitter. You just let me know, so then I can boomer this up, and we'll see how it goes. But it was a really fun closeout stream. Really fun closeout stream. And I did a similar thing. So Jeremy said, hey, do you want to come on our show? I can't even tell you what day it was. But he said he sent me a link. I was asleep. I passed out dead that day. I was just completely wiped, and I've been catching up on some sleep. Not that I typically use it, but man, I have been feeling wiped out lately. It has been nuts, because it's just been a crazy couple of weeks, and then of course with the holidays. So I hope everybody had by the way, a very great Christmas. For those of you guys who celebrate Christmas, I hope everybody got a decent break, and I hope everybody's looking forward to a great new year. I do think 2022 is going to be a great year for CG. So this right here, hey, what's up, SDA? Good to see you. In what alternate universe would Phil ever turn down a link to the show? Okay, you'll hop on in a bit. I'll send you a link. Hang on a second. Yeah, Phil is one of the busiest men in show business. So, that's how it is. Let me see if I can find Phil here. God, Twitter is the message thing. I still haven't figured out exactly how it all works. So we'll see. We'll see if that works. So when I'm doing this kind of stuff, the biggest thing about it for me is getting a sense of how this work is going to go. And so in this sequence right here, I'll give you some spoilers. So a friend of his is in really bad shape here in the foreground, and it should just look like a series of scribbles if I've done my job of not doing my job. And he's coming after these vampires because he knows his friend is in trouble, and they're sort of based on the Werner Herzog, kind of vampires. Let me zoom this out. Hang on a second, guys. Hang on. There we go. That makes it a little easier for you guys to see. So he's coming after these guys fast and furious. And so he takes them down. And then after he stabs this one guy in the stomach, who's going to be leaning over him in this panel, sort of draped over him as he stares down the guy whose head or the guy who's just been wounded, his friend right here. He kind of notices what's happened to this guy, and he's going to take that sword and just kind of bring it up right through the midsection of that character. So I'm looking forward to illustrating that, because I don't do a lot of gore with human characters in this, but if you are a humanoid vampire, then all bets are off. So that's kind of my approach when I'm doing this kind of stuff, is trying to figure that stuff out. Let's see here. It's the 28th of December in the East Coast. That's Stan Lee's birthday. It also happens to be mine. Whoa! That's an excellent birthday to have, though, KSSS, man. That's awesome. Yeah, Stan Lee is amazing. And I've been thinking a lot about Stan. And, if it wasn't for Stan Lee doing those comic book greats videos, I wouldn't have had any of the knowledge And also the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book, which is, I can't get it because it'll cause a book avalanche, but it's right within reach underneath 500 books right there. I love that book. And yeah, happy birthday, KSSS. Let's get some ones in the chat for that birthday right there. Must be done. So let's see here. I've got this guy in here, and then I'm going to have this guy. Let's rough his mouth in here. And it's interesting because when I watch those comic book great videos, there was no way a kid in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I mean, granted, you know, there were conventions. There was the Atlanta Comic-Con that you could drive to or that I could get a lift to. But there was no way I was going to be going by the DC offices or talking to editors or any of that stuff where I was coming up. So seeing that book from Stan Lee, I mean, I would take things like that book or notes I took from the Comic Book Great videos, and I would basically, hey, Lloyd, what's up, brother? And I would go to art stores and go, can I get this here? And sometimes they'd have to just order this stuff because I couldn't find an art store that had like hunt mapping points or whatever. And I remember that stuff so well. So whenever people ask me questions, you know, about what supplies do I use or what things work, I always love to answer those questions if people have them, because, you know, that was something that was really important to me. I mean, a lot of the more finer nuances of art are fine, but if you don't know how to actually use the tools, you're stopped. Like, the theory is not where you start. In fact, it's not even the middle point of the journey. There's certain things that are theory that are useful, but not all of it. I need to buy a copy of How to Draw Comics. Yeah, I misplaced mine too. I think that's my 5th copy of that book that I have at this point because I keep losing them. And they're so great. It's such a great book. And so, yeah, I've been, it was cool when I was on OC Steve and Jeremy, Lord Crackhead 33's channel, and the stream that they were having. And I'm totally blanking on everybody's name because I'm so fried and I'm trying to, not fried, I'm so multitasking right now. But I had a real blast. And we were talking about the book, the Fox book. Someone please put it in the chat if you know which book I'm talking about. They just did a sign-up sheet for that. And then there's another werewolf book that's an edition that comes with it. And I know the guy's name, and it's pissing me off that I can't remember. Somebody please help me. And the guy was talking about, the artist was going, yeah, I've got a Gerhardt cover and a Tim Vigil cover. Those are 2 artists of my formative years. I was so excited to hear that. I mean, it was such a cool, the stuff, the people that you meet in CG, man, it's pretty amazing. And I can't believe I'm blanking on the book. Belmont Press. There you go. Smokes the Fox. I don't know how I did not remember that, because I remember loving that, and I love the cover art. It looks really cool. And so, yeah, Smokes the Fox, and we were talking about it, and it was just a really cool stream. I keep meeting more and more people in CG, and yeah, I'm looking at a lot of Tim Vigil at the moment, so it's been kind of cool to see that, and that's who I'm looking at for some of the anatomy. You can see me doing right here is that kind of Ryan Christgau. Thank you very much. Yeah, Six Gun Gorilla. God, you guys are helping me out big time. Yeah. It's one of those things. Hey, what's up, OC Steve? Thank you for the Smokes the Fox, by the way. I appreciate it. That was a great guy. I had a great time on that stream. I feel like I talked you guys' ears off, but I had a blast doing that. I guess I was just, you know, I was in such a CG, not that I'm ever not, but I was in a huge, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not adrenaline rush, but it was just such a great, like, 24 hours in my CG life, dare I say. OC Steve is not me. That's right. There you go, D-Wag. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right. Mo Biggs, and everybody's getting everything, getting all the names in there. I want to make sure I give D-Wag and everybody credit for their, for every bit of brain power they're contributing to this. Yeah, absolutely. Seriously, it's like, let me see here. I used to, oh man, the chat jumps and my brain just goes. Oh, wow. That's really cool. Thank you. I appreciate Darren Wagner. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that stream, because I know that OC Steve and Jeremy are always going to bring it. So it's nice to not detract from that in any way. Let's see here. Fanboying, and that's a good thing. Yeah, absolutely love it. Nosfero teams with Shinobi Sasquatch. There you go. Yeah, I'm learning all about Shinobi Sasquatch, actually. That was an interesting, I'm like going, what is this, a book? I'm like trying to learn everything about it. But apparently I did miss something. Let me see here. Hail Jimmy Birds. Okay, everybody's just saying their hellos. And let me see here. So I've got Nosfero, who's going to be having, and a lot of times when you guys see me roughing in the mass on these arms, if I can move this over. Oh my God, yeah, it was great to talk to Brian for the first time. It was so funny because CG has gotten to the point right now where there are people who can actually be in it and not not meet each other for some time. And I was just like, we both kind of had like, I know I've heard Brian's name floated around or heard it like on different streams in the background. I know I've heard Six Gun Gorilla before, but it's just it's crazy. There was so much going on that sometimes it's possible for people not to have met, and I can't think of a better place to have met somebody in. I mean, it was really cool. Oz the Great Sage, Shinobi Snail sounds better. Oh dear. Okay, so something. I'm guessing there's something going on. Shit just got real in the chat. Can you paint on sketch covers? My gears are turning for a possible commission when things slow down for you. Yeah, I've actually. Let me see. I can do pen. I'm pretty sure I can do pen and ink. Excuse me. Pen and ink stuff on it because I do, actually know how to do pen and ink stuff. But this stuff in acrylics, which is typically what I use, I would be terrified of messing up a cover and having it warp because I've never painted on that kind of surface before, and I have a feeling it would buckle because there's just too much moisture in the stuff I use. Hey, you met in our neck of CG. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. This is the funny thing. OC Steve and I have got like 50 conversations that I think we've got to have at some point. I want to talk about The Witcher. I want to talk about the Dune movie, both of which I have a very positive view of at the moment in terms of what they're doing. I unfortunately, when they were having the conversation about Game of Thrones, it reminded me of, and I wasn't a huge Game of Thrones fan, which was great because I didn't have to experience what Game of Thrones fans experienced with that show. I've been burned so many times. Hey, what's up, Arrogant Ape? My brother. Like, seriously, Arrogant Ape. You're killing me on Nosfero, man. I really appreciate it. You've been doing great. What's up, Skip Edwards? Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, when I look at, when I get excited about a television show right now, I immediately feel this kind of, don't get too excited because I assume it's going to attract a big fan base, which is great. But I worry about when things attract a big fan base, if the suits are going to get involved and then try to, I don't want to say that, I don't even think it's pushing an agenda, but like, we have to get this out now. If you think about it, the damage that they did to Game of Thrones, by all accounts, if they had just paused for a minute and said to themselves, okay, what's the best way to go about this? We don't have the source material. We do have a sketch, but maybe let's just take a minute to think about whether we know what we want to do with this. And they can't all be Breaking Bad. That's absolutely right. Breaking Bad is a special show. But if they had just paused, how much, and actually done something that was just passable. I mean, wouldn't it have been so much better if fans were just like, it could have been better. You know what I mean? It's like, that would have been 1,000 times, more preferable than what they got, which is they killed it for me. I just don't understand that need for a rush. It blows my mind. Let's see here. Eric the Guapo. Yo, what's up, Eric the Guapo? What's up, Lord Ravener? Ravner or Ravener? I'm saying Ravener. It is Ravener, so I think. I read names. I see the symbols in the chat. I see the words. They're moving. Everybody's saying their hellos and their hails. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of amazing because all of a sudden I knew so many people who were talking about that show and couldn't wait for it for years. And it wasn't even a mixed reaction to it. Maybe there were some people who were, in denial for a bit, but I was hearing almost across the board, what the hell am I watching? Like, it was awful. So there was that phase where, because a friend of mine read the books and is a huge science fiction fantasy reader and illustrator, professional illustrator. Let me see here. God, when Breaking Bad. Oh, there's Jeremy. There's my brother. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get this to work. Guys, I will leave this stream accidentally at some point. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? How you doing, man?
What is it? My Game of Thrones radar was going off. I thought I heard my ears ringing.
Yeah, you did, brother. You did. Hang on. Let me see. to happen in a way to where, 1 second here. I'm going to screw this up, I'm sure. But let's see here if I can do the, there we go. Split that in half. So yeah, I mean, I remember when the Red Wedding happened and everybody who are fans of the books, my friend, were laughing like, haha, people didn't see that coming. But the end of the series was a twist that I don't think, in terms of disappointment, that anybody saw coming.
No,
I mean, holy Lord.
Yeah. It was bad. That was the thing about, us book readers, went through seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 for some cases. We kind of knew what was going to be coming. We knew what was around the corner, at least all the big, broad strokes. But when you got into those later seasons, even we were in the dark. So yeah, it threw everyone for a loop that last season. What's
there
up, Phil?
seems to be a tremendous amount of depression. Yeah, Phil. Phil in the chat. We were just talking about the depression that Game of Thrones fans experienced not long. Actually, it feels like yesterday. I'm sure the wounds are still fresh.
Yeah, very.
And why people destroy or franchises like that. But I'm telling you, like, you see people get excited about things, and the funny thing about fans that I always try to understand why studios don't get that. If you've got fans who love and support you, shut the fuck up and just give them something. If you can't make it great, make it passable. It's like shit.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, I don't.
Did you watch that?
I don't get it. It's crazy.
No, I didn't see any of that. Yeah, I watch regular. I watch regular porn.
Oh, good. Yeah. You couldn't handle the intensity of that?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Yeah, the disappointment was probably a little bit easier. You're more in the pulp end of things. Have either of you guys seen The Witcher? I know Jeremy has, but
yep.
I haven't. No, it looks interesting. I'd watch it. I never played the games either or read the books, but I know it has a huge fan base.
Yeah.
I'm not super into a lot of fantasy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. Yeah, if fantasy was your type of thing, but yeah. What's your favorite genre?
I know this one's one of them anyway.
I'm not sure. Right now I'm super into pulp, and I'm getting into cyberpunk stuff because I want to do I'm planning out a cyberpunk comic for the future.
Oh,
that's why I have these glasses actually.
I like it.
Brandon's like, my brother found them online. He's like, dude, you should get these for when you start promoting the cyberpunk book. And I'm like, yeah. So he got them for me for Christmas.
Nice.
But I love, I just love this pulp stuff right now, man. I'm so high on it right now. Other than that, kind of the vigilante genre in general really speaks to me for that.
Nice. Yeah, you can never go wrong with a good pulp.
Yeah.
It's funny too because for me, I like I respect a lot of different genres, and I get what Lord of the Rings, and I get Game of Thrones, and I watched them, and for a bit I didn't get deep into Game of Thrones, thank God, the show I mean, because watching what happened to other people, I'm like, I've just been through Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't need any more of this stuff. Oh, what have you got there? What are you showing, Phil?
Doing some lettering.
Oh, nice, dude. I love seeing this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do this without.
Thought I'd come on and work with you.
No, that's fine. Come on and work. I just want to see if I can solo layout you for a second so people can sort of see what we're doing here. Nice, man. Very
he
cool.
just ripped this guy out of this car.
Silhouette,
and this is actually both of these characters, the one that gets pulled out and the driver of the car, are both backers. They're drawn in tears.
Oh my gosh.
So
awesome.
That's their likeness. So this is one of the backers, and then this is the son of a backer.
Holy cow.
Sent me a bunch of reference pictures. So yeah. So awesome. They get killed. So
oh my God, man. sometimes you gotta. That's how it has to be. So like when I'm doing this stuff, the thing for me, if I can make this happen now, how do I put this to get back to where I had it? Oh, we'll figure it out. I had this option. Oh, there we go. So when I'm working, this is the thing I was thinking about. So you know all those tombstones that I have on that one page with the werewolves, or the wolves, I should say, and the moon in the background?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about, should I add a tier for people to get their names on tombstones? So
That is pretty cool.
So we'll see. I don't know what you guys think about that, but
Yeah,
that might be something I
yeah.
do down
I think
the
it
road
could be
there.
a good idea. Shane Davis is doing something similar with Inglorious Rex with the tournament style bracket that he's going to have in, I guess, in his book. He has a tier that you could purchase, and you can have your name in one of the bracket slots.
Right under LaRusso. That's where I want my name to be. Yeah, man. I'm so excited about Inglorious Rex, man.
Oh, it looks great.
About that. Yeah, it looks like a great book.
Awesome. Did he show off that colored page today, Jeremy?
I'm not sure.
He had it as the thumbnail. I think he's streaming right now, actually, but the stream
Flat Mountain.
he had as the thumbnail was the colored page where the hologram of the Rex was, and it looked really, really cool colored. But I don't think he showed off the full page yet. I think he just teased it out with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it is badass.
Yeah, his stuff's insane. Oh yeah, and to get back to that genre topic, I love westerns too. Like,
yes,
especially film. You know, huge of the spaghetti western specifically, but that's something that I would love to tackle. In fact, for one of my characters, Wild Card, since he lives throughout time, I have a plot for a story where he's in like the Wild West.
Yeah, set him in that Civil War time period or something. Yeah.
Yeah, a little after. After that, and it's gonna be he's fighting demon cowboys that take over a town.
Oh shit! Nice.
Like they come up from hell. Yeah, it'll be pretty fun. So hopefully we'll get
What's
there.
What's your favorite western?
That story. Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh my God, that's my favorite western too.
That and Unforgiven.
Yeah, that's Phil and I maybe like, I don't know what. I've got a painting. You know this. I've got a painting I did of Woody Strode over there on the wall.
Yeah, you showed that to me. So,
dude,
I don't know if this makes sense, but my favorite western is Once Upon a Time in the West. But my favorite all-time movie is Tombstone, which happens to be a western.
Wow. Yeah, it's also a western.
So I don't know if that makes. I don't know if that
does
can work, but
it does work. Yeah, because Tombstone is a brilliant movie, but it's a little bit like saying, I don't know. To me, it's a little bit like Godfather. The Godfather is like a movie outside of that genre. Like it's bigger than just that genre.
Yeah, it's not just a mob movie.
Yeah. It's a weird, like, to me, the Sopranos is more, God, we just think about the character of like Michael Corleone in like just the first movie alone, his transformation. It's about, trying to come into the United States and he's trying to kind of be assimilated into that. But then he's also got this stuff with his family and all these really incredible bigger themes there that are just, it goes a lot of places.
That first one really is great. I mean, he's coming back from the war, and then fresh off the war, he's got this he's coming home to another war with his family, and involving his family, and it's just there's so many layers to the Godfather trilogy. 3 isn't my favorite, but it's still watchable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All these genres, man. I mean, it's like fantasy. I think I'm going to say something profound that only a million other people have said. But I think we're going to look back at this time as being, in a lot of ways, the heyday of fantasy. And it's like, I think that there's a lot of other genres that they're rich ground for us to be exploring. But I think, again, the absence of a genre does not mean that its reintroduction is going to work. It's like, Unforgiven is a perfect example of, and Tombstone, actually both of those were westerns that hit perfectly for their time, if that makes sense. And everybody went and saw them. And if you didn't grow up and you didn't even know who the hell Clint Eastwood was, which is kind of, well, as a Western star, which a lot of people who saw that movie did not, you were like, this is an incredible movie, you know? And I'm just seeing something in the chat real quick. When Shanth gets time, he should paint Patrick Thomas Parnell's Scarlet Heart like he did The Masquerade. Yeah. Let me say this. I'm really excited about getting my first book from him, which should be coming out soon. And then I want to back his newest one, which is the oh my God, Johnny Phantasm 90. Is it 93?
Yeah, Extreme 93.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I get it. It happened. It happened a lot of 93, right? Yeah, in a time period when I graduated from high school in 1994. For anybody who needs to be horrified by that.
Okay.
So I always get like there's so many things happened in the 90s with Spider-Man #1 by Todd McFarlane, then the Image Boom 92, I think it was, with Spawn. I could be off on that, but so many different things happened during that time period that when I see the 90s at any time, I cannot tell, like I get those years confused. But yeah, I want to meet him at some point because him and I have a lot of shared interests and he seems like a really cool guy. We're both into figures, although different kinds of action figures, but he seems like a nice dude.
PTP is cool. Yeah, he's a real laid back guy. Yeah, we had him on Monday Night Mayhem a few weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
He's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's I've watched some of his streams. Like we're into some really we got to be a stone's throw away age wise because we're into some super tacky shit that we love, like Garbage Pail Kids, like to a really like I totally get that. And then things like Battle Beasts, which we're getting really in the weeds with that stuff. Yeah. And I just go, oh man, you know. But he's got some really great streams. I love that guy's streams.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I like his
I'm
Sunday
open
streams. They're good.
Oh yeah, geez, seriously. But yeah, westerns. My western comic wise, I think Blueberry, of course, did it really well. Mobius's western book. But what about in the States? I mean, is there any straight western book in the States that rivals?
Not recently. Yeah. I mean, they were, of course, popular back before superheroes were popular, right? It was romantics, westerns. That's what Marvel would do. Like that was their thing, and in Western pulps and stuff like that. But nothing really has taken a shot at it. I remember when the New 52 launched, back when it did, they did an all-star Western series, which was like the old DC title when they did Westerns back. It was like a Western anthology, I'm pretty sure. But when they did it with New 52, it was Jonah Hex, but in the 1800s in Gotham City. Like he comes to Gotham City. And you have like the old Wayne family. And this was the time when Snyder was doing the Court of Owls. So they had some Court of Owls tie-ins for like 1800s version of the Court of Owls. And it was Jonah Hex partnered with it was like the ancestor of Jeremiah Arkham, who went on to do, make Arkham Asylum and stuff like that. So I was picking that up for a while, but it didn't really hold my interest. Like I was just, I think I was like my senior year of high school or whatever when that was happening. And I'm like, I really like cowboys and stuff.
Boomer this to pieces. I'll share a decapitated head with you guys. But yeah, I think you got to read this one, Phil.
One of my history friends, Jeff Morey, was this historical advisor on Tombstone when Kevin Jarre was the director and writer. Jarre was doing Tombstone as the film, more like a drama, like The Godfather. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. Nice. Yeah, and I'm looking at the chat, guys. And Jeremy, if at any point you want to read anything from the chat to me, feel free.
All right.
Just because I've got my reading glass on. I'm not giving you homework, though, man.
No problem. No problem at all.
Yeah, Tombstone is incredible.
Oh, well, speaking of the chat, Son of Liberty Radio says Chuck Dixon is doing a Western with Pat Broderick right now, apparently.
Dang.
Oh, cool.
Chuck. Get him out. That was definitely one of the those early CG days, man. You know, they
Oh.
had their moments, but
The best. Just the best.
oh my god.
I love that
Yeah.
channel, that Comicsgate is Comics Great channel that just
Yes.
drops all the
Yeah.
old CG clips. Oh man,
I
I
sent you
love
that
just
clip, right?
yes, that was so good, man. I was in tears today watching that.
Oh, yeah, that puts me in the hospital,
So
man.
many good memories from back then. You know, like 2018 CG was something else. Like just the streams alone.
Speaking of the Wild Wild West, right? It was
Yeah.
absolutely crazy, man. Those
Yeah.
guys, they did so much, you know, just so much work to get that that to the place that it got to. And it's, I don't know, man. I feel very I don't know. I feel very grateful for everything they did, but I will also say this: outside of the gratitude, I feel so grateful to have been entertained during that time period. They're
Yes.
still doing great stuff, but that stuff was hilarious, man. I cannot get over that stuff. You see if I've got oh, gotta hit the bed. All right, OC Steve, get some sleep, man. All
Later,
right.
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Let me see what I've got here. Just making sure I've got everything squared away here. Good. Just making sure if anybody was sent me a message. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where, I mean, when I think about the fun of CG and the fun, you know, it's kind of interesting. I think that that's sort of what a lot of us are doing right now is kind of, you know, shit. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. That's a little bit better. A lot of us right now are trying to kind of, you know, help expand this thing and move it out a little bit further. And it's great. You, Jeremy, your channel is freaking amazing, dude.
Oh wow, appreciate that.
Blown
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, I
no,
just try to have some fun, you know. If it wasn't for the good, you know, guests and the good chat, it wouldn't be anything. It's they're what makes the show.
Yeah, going back to Westerns, I've written a 10-page short story that's a new IP for us.
Whoa.
That's actually kind of like a cross. The setting is a Western backdrop and a cross between something that's known that was originally was a pitch for Ethan's Cool Story Bro.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it was originally 8 pages, and then I just like really, really liked writing it, and I'm like, oh, this could be something that's not just a short story. You know, I could actually publish it myself and extend it into like a graphic novel in the future. And so I, you know, kind of was telling people the idea of it, and they're like, dude, you should just do it yourself. And I actually sent the script to Kenneth, and he looked it over and he dug it, and he's like, dude, you should do this.
Yes.
And so I actually extended it to added 2 more pages. It's 10 pages. And I have an artist that we're going to start working on just that short next year. And I think it's going to be like the first kind of ash can we put out, kind of like how Joe Sontag's doing his ash can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Little preview.
So yeah, I'll do like that as a short story, sell it through Twitter and on our site as like it'll be like the first appearance of this character and, you know, pretty exclusive collectors thing. And then we might do like 2 or 3 more of those short ones to get people hyped up for the IP, and then eventually launch a full story collecting those, and then, you know, new content as well. It's really, really fun. Kind of
that sounds awesome, because you can get people started on the IP early, and for it's a good way to to gauge interest in the IP. So that sounds awesome. I'd love to see more creators start to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and so when you're working on the story, so what's the beginning, middle, and end of it? No, I'm kidding. Just gonna see what I could get out of you, Phil. What's the plot twist I wouldn't see coming, hypothetically?
It's crazy.
Oh,
it's 2 kind of like crazy ideas smashed together that I think's gonna be a lot of fun. But Brandon and I were just talking about like kind of like a month ago of how could we get more content and story out to the readers. And
Yeah.
you only have so much time in a year
Yep.
to campaign and do
Yeah.
a mailing list and all this stuff. So
All the other
looking
work
at
that
guys
goes
like
into it.
yeah, and seeing what Sean and Joe did with their ash cans, I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. You do something short that's not too expensive to create and pay for the art. It's just 10 pages.
Yeah.
And then if you're printing it at a smaller size for an ash can, then that marks down printing costs, and you're getting this story out black and white. And eventually you do 3 or 4 of those, you have a kind of like a full arc or anthology of short stories with this character.
No.
And then you could blow it up to regular comic size, get it colored, and it's a full new thing with a new cover, so
Yeah, with already a ton of interest already in it. Yeah, people already invested.
and
in
yeah,
it.
and you slowly build up that extra interest, and then you're not taking. We're not taking away from the Lost Pages, the work we're putting into that. We're still doing those campaigns or Magic Ops, stuff like that. And this is something on the side.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. Well, Shanth, you do have one question in the chat from. I think people will like that. Like we saw, the success that Sean and Joe had with the little ash can campaigns, the way they did, not without mailing lists, and they still did great. So it shows that that's something people are definitely up for. But yeah, John was asking you, Shanth. Well, I guess someone asked earlier, what draw camera do you use?
I'm using an old iPhone. That I'm running through. I have a stripped iPhone that I got this software for that allows me to not have any of the options floating on the screen while I do it. And then sometimes I use the Razer. I forget what it is, but it's the round camera. The really simplified one. I'm gonna try to get a better camera at some point, but I'm just using what I have and trying to make it work as best as possible. But the biggest tip for how I do my art streams goes to Phil.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Which is the virtual camera thing. That has been the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, I stole that from Bancroft, I think. No, someone else. Oh no, it was,
don't give Bancroft any credit.
No, it wasn't Bancroft. It was Death Metal Hero and Jason from Unhinged. They do this stuff.
Nice.
I knew you were able to do it, but I didn't know you could do it as easy as you can now. It's really easy now.
Cool.
I think too, for me, the biggest thing about it was I would say that in terms of streaming the art process, there are a lot of benefits to what I was using before. It's just, God, I'm totally blanking out. Kind of Ecamm. I was using Ecamm for a while, which worked great. But when it comes to having guests on and things like that, it's miserable for that. It's great at what it does, but it's specifically great at that. And so that was kind of a frustrating thing for me. But then when I got introduced to OBS, it's made things a lot better. And I think that StreamYard is just industry standard for, at least for me anyway, for Comicsgate. Because people are used to it, and we'll switch, I'm sure, at some point. But for right now, it's where you want to be. And I see Tommy in the chat. Good morning. I know it's morning over there.
Good morning, Tommy.
Yeah, what's up, Tommy?
Man.
Oz the Great Sage asks, is Zorro considered a Western?
That's an interesting one.
Huh. It's a good question.
It's everything, man.
I would say Zorro is a pulp Western.
Pulp Western sounds pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah, I consider it a
very
Western.
Retro. Yeah. Kind of part of that kind of old time hero pulp crew.
Yeah.
If you look at Dynamite years ago, let's say like maybe 6 years ago or more, probably more, they came out with a comic called Masks, and the first issue was interiors and covers totally done by Alex Ross.
Mhm.
And it was just a team of the pulp heroes, all of the kind of not public domain, but all those characters, the Shadow, Green Hornet,
Oh, they were
the
all in it?
Spider, Zorro was there. I don't think Phantom was in there. They had Miss Fury was part of it, and I think in one iteration that the Daredevil character, the old Australian Daredevil character. So I mean, Zorro was there with all those like pulp guys. So
Whatever happened to that Miss? There was a Miss Fury book recently being worked on that Billy Tucci was attached to, right?
yeah, I don't know. I heard so most recently, probably like a couple weeks ago, because I was, he was campaigning with that, and then the artist, that hot Spanish artist.
Oh,
Maria.
Maria, yeah,
Maria, yeah.
Stefano or something like that. I know she's
That's
I thought she was
I
Italian.
don't know about it.
But yeah,
Who
she
cares
was
about her
hot.
last name?
She was
She was
very hot. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the book looked awesome. I didn't back it. I wanted to until all the Dynamite stuff happened.
Yeah,
But
same.
I heard that she left the project.
Huh.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah. Look, Lord Ravener says she left for DC. Yeah, I heard
Oh,
this
wow.
a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Which is crazy. She was awesome and
That
hot,
sucks.
So.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I wish her the best, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, right, that was the big thing. Billy was talking about that on Comicsgate Kings tonight about the whole, and I totally feel for the guy, just trying to stay positive, realizing that people are having, tough times, and that people, people have Twitter's not the best idea for people sometimes, and in terms of what they put out there and everything like that. But what I think is kind of amazing to me is if there was a time to be getting, I mean, unless there's more money than I'm imagining there is, but if there was a time to be getting, involved in independent comics and doing this kind of thing, I would say it's now. So it's strange to think of going to the big two when you got someone like Billy Tucci that you're working with.
Yeah.
That's,
and
I mean,
access to a network of customers and an audiences like this. I mean, you seem someone to have an in this sphere would be a great opportunity. But yeah. But and apparently Oz, Great Sage, says they're breaking it down, getting ready for fulfillment. So I guess it is still fulfilling.
There's Billy for you, right?
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And that book looked huge too. That book looked like it was a big book.
Yeah.
Yeah, 120 page book.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
I mean, by CG standards, that's really big.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to tell Billy that, size isn't everything sometimes. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
He's Italian. Good luck telling him that.
Yeah. That She book, man, looks like it's going to be a beast to mail. The postage
the omnibus?
on that.
Can't wait.
I can only imagine.
Dude.
Bless him. Yeah.
Billy's awesome.
Billy's
But
awesome.
yeah, it's basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Go
dude.
ahead.
I met him too. I met him. No problem. I think I might be on a delay or something. But I met him right before I started crowdfunding Magic Op 1. He was at a convention in Chicago. Whoa. And I went there to meet him, and I'm like, hey, dude, I watch you on Ethan's and stuff. And he's like, oh, are you Comicsgate? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, awesome. So we were just hitting it off the whole time. And even back then, when he wasn't really like on a show called CG Kings, he was still all about it, which is really cool. And just such a badass. He's just such a great guy. His enthusiasm for comics just makes me want to make more comics. Like it is such a motivator. Is amazing. He's one of the most motivating people in comics, I think, just because his passion for it.
Yeah,
he
he's got
means it.
great energy on streams. He's just you can tell that like he's someone that would be a ton of fun with to just go out and have a beer with on the weekend. You know what I mean? Something like that. You could. He actually one of the funniest CG stories I've probably ever heard to date came from Billy Tucci. It was during the Professional show a few months ago where he just told this long story about this knockdown drag out fist fight he got into at a con, and it was just the most badass thing I'd ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Billy's the
Him,
man.
you know, it's just
Yeah, that was awesome.
he's the man.
Yeah, I heard he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. I mean, these are the stories I hear anyway.
Yeah.
Billy's, yeah, I got,
Billy,
so go ahead.
No, you go. What, you met him?
Oh,
You said?
yeah, well, I met him at a con, and around that time, this would be in the 90s at some point. A bunch of my mentor and a bunch of people from his studio were all doing pinups in the I think it's Shi Senryaku. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but it was a pinup book with some of the top people in the industry. So like Adam Hughes, Brian Stelfreeze, Jason Pearson, Cully Hamner, I think too. A lot of those guys had pieces in that book. And so I got into it that way. And then, of course, the trade paper, I think it was actually might have even been that book that had the Frazetta cover. And I think that's the first Frazetta piece I ever bought was the Frazetta watercolor and of She. And when people, talk about my stuff, isn't it beautiful? When people talk about the stuff I do in relation to Frazetta, what got me into Frazetta after I'd seen his oils for a long time was not his oils. It was actually his watercolors, which I freaking love.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. How insane to be a indie comic creator like Billy and you have a cover by Frazetta.
Oh, man.
It's crazy.
Well, you're going after one of my bucket lists.
Yeah.
Tim
Well,
Vigil,
I
man.
mean, I know how it feels. I mean, having that Simon Bisley cover for the Lost Pages, working with the guys that I'm going to be working with this upcoming year just for pinup pieces. It's surreal.
It is. It's crazy.
Sure.
For one, I'm really looking forward to the graveyard shift story you're going to be doing. And Malin must have been really impressed with it to bump it up to a full page, a full story. So that's good.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, it's so fun to write those characters and be able to create some cool bad guys for the universe. And the pages look insane. There's going to be a big CG moment in there that people are going to remember, I think. So
okay,
I think it's going to be really, really cool.
What is that moment? If you could just tell us what it is. No,
we won't tell anybody. Promise.
It'll go down in CG history, but it's gonna be badass. It's gonna be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to do more. Yeah, I really liked working with other people's characters.
Yeah, it must be a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
No, the best part was writing the script and then watching the art come in and knowing that I don't have to pay for that art. Like John's paying for it.
Yeah. It's best of both worlds. You get to see your creation come to life and it's not costing you a penny.
Right, exactly. And it's like it's still your baby,
Yeah.
So it's like I created this thing and it's so cool, and getting to see all the pencils and inks go on it and the color. I can't wait to see it in print.
Not only are you not
I can't wait
paying,
to talk about it.
Right. I imagine I can't wait. I can't wait to hear more about, the story, and get into weeds on it. I know it's going to be based around Brahm, I guess, but I can't wait to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I'm pumped.
Yeah, Ravener talking about those rope. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go.
Ravener talking about the Roquefort cards. Yeah,
those
were crazy.
Shit. Yes.
That
was so cool. That was so cool of him to do.
Yeah. I've been so lucky of having just artists and amazing friends now just liking the characters that we're doing and the projects we're putting out. So
Yeah, well, that's what happens when when you start creating interesting characters like this. People, are going to want to draw them. So yeah, and you have created a lot of interesting characters, and just with Magic
thanks,
Cop and
man.
Lost Pages alone. I mean, so yeah, it must be a good feeling seeing the quote unquote Rocafort, not fan art, but having Rocafort draw your character. It's just like, yeah, it must be
Yeah.
surreal.
Thanks.
Here's a book for you to look at, Phil, at some point.
Wow.
So this is where I did my research. This is written by his grandson, David Balaban, but it's got all the high-res photos of the theaters, including the one that you have in your book. And it's just nothing but old photography. I bought this for reference when I was working on that book. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Just,
it's just like a slice of time,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's insane. I was just looking up old pictures of Chicago because Brandon and I were talking about some masquerade stuff, and I'm like, oh, dude, it would be such a cool scene to have the masquerade fighting someone while standing like on a cart from the Ferris wheel, like they're
Oh
fighting
shit.
on the Ferris wheel. Because they're at Navy Pier downtown. There's like the big famous Ferris wheel, excuse me, and that's where the first Ferris wheel debuted, was in Chicago. But I looked it up, and it debuted at the Columbus exhibition in 1895, but it wasn't. They didn't have a Ferris wheel there during the masquerade's time, so I would have to do some rethinking of that. So it was like 1895 to like 1903. Then in the 90s, they added the one at Navy Pier. Yeah, there's the Chicago Theater. It's awesome.
This is the highest res image I've ever seen, because it's obviously they have the photo, but I've been looking for it online, and then I found
Yeah,
this.
that
And I
is
was
pretty
like, this is
good. Wow.
insane. Yeah, this book is filled. There's the interior space
Oh, I gotta get
of the
that.
theater. And this book, this shows you, like, Phil and I have some weird overlap in the things that we like, just, really, like when you showed me that theater, and I was like, look at these shots, by the way, from, this is 1986, with Frank Sinatra. I guess they did a reopening. And then, let me see if I can find, like, there's shots in here of like the stained glass windows and things that,
Wow, yeah,
this is like archival, like reference stuff. And it's got the BK, the Balaban and Cats logo. And then they've got, of course, various posters in here from that time period.
Nice. That's awesome.
Oh wow.
Isn't this stuff, like, look at this stuff. Look at these images.
It's just.
Yep.
Isn't this sick?
I love
mean,
it. For me, it's almost like a little, bit of time traveling. You got a slice of time that you're looking at. A window into the past.
I mean, come on, guys. Like, good Lord, get on
Beautiful.
this, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
And that's one thing
Yeah,
I
so-
love seeing in comics. That when I see
Oh, yeah.
historically accurate buildings and stuff and backgrounds and stuff, so I can instantly know, okay, that's London, that's New York. Like, I love seeing the accuracy. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we try to do that because it's such a centric place for the Lost Pages. Try to make it a character within itself, which it is. So yeah, like, I love the city. I love going down to the city. It's just beautiful, and the theater and stuff. So hopefully in the Masquerade, because we're gonna do I think book 5 is gonna be all about the Masquerade. It'll be like his featured book, because we're going to go through the characters, and that's going to have a lot of
nice.
Chicago.
Yeah, that'll be perfect to get into all that kind of stuff for the Masquerade. Yeah, you're gonna do a Crimstone one too, I take it.
No, better be.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Crim's my.
I don't want to give
personal
anything.
favorite.
Like, seriously, I have no, guys. I'm going to throw out names, but I have no knowledge of anything Phil is doing. Like, I would never speculate on anything if I had anything. I'm just saying, if there's a way to get a Dale Keown Crimstone piece,
Oh my
come
God.
That would
on,
be
man.
insane.
My
It has
God.
to be done. Come on, man.
Ugh.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Ugh,
God, I'd
shit.
love to see that. And what do you call it? But yeah, I mean, for me, it's like when we were talking before, like we were talking about westerns, we were talking about genres, and Jeremy and I were talking about fantasy. Here's the thing for me about all of that stuff, what ties it together, and what's the big thing for me with Nosfero and a lot of the stuff I'm doing. Pulp is kind of my linguistic that goes over everything. And the reason why I would be more attracted to something like The Witcher, this may sound like heresy, but just go with me on this, over something like Game of Thrones, is because Game of Thrones, if I go serious, the kind of serious I like to do with my stuff is much more Punisher first season serious, whereas The Witcher brings in that perfect balance of, yes, there's some intense violence in it, but the sex tends to be very lighthearted. Do you know what I mean? Like the sexiness of the characters. There's some violence in it, but it never goes past a certain point that I would expect, say, from a Guillermo del Toro movie or something like that, where things can just sort of turn on a dime. So there's different things I like. And in my fantasy stuff, I think The Witcher, particularly the first season, but I did enjoy the second season of that show, had this necessary pulp-like feel to it that I like. It's maybe hard to grasp. It's not just that the characters swear. It's not like a lot of people talk about those kinds of things. It's more that the beautiful characters are meant to be beautiful, period, full stop. Here's what you have.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like it's got a really great visual flavor to it. And interestingly enough, Dune, I thought, did an extraordinary job with its casting in that regard. Not that it's pulp, but you know what I mean? Just extraordinary.
Yeah, I loved the cast of Dune overall. I mean, I was a little worried about. I think we talked about this once before, Shanth. I was a little worried about Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho at first, and then I saw the movie, and I was wholeheartedly convinced that I wouldn't want to see anybody but Jason Momoa playing Duncan now. Like he really killed it. Because actors like him, they tend to sometimes be one-dimensional and not really have the acting range to pull off certain scenes and stuff, but boy, was I wrong about him in that role. He absolutely killed it.
Yeah, they break the believability of it. Like, I got to be honest with you, I'm really excited about. Is it called The Northman? What's his name? Robert Eggers' next movie. Who did
The Northman?
The Witch? Yeah, The Northman. Thank you. But when I saw Nicole Kidman, I did gasp a little bit.
Yeah,
like it made me a little nervous because
same thing with William Dafoe.
Yeah, right.
And just in that, I love William Dafoe. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my favorite actors of all time. But seeing him in that role in that time period, it made me do a double take. Same thing with Nicole Kidman. Yeah, I mean, Alexander Skarsgård is right at home. That dude could have been born 1,000 years ago, and he'd be swinging an axe in somebody's chest somewhere, on a battlefield. He's absolutely perfect for a Viking movie. But I agree with you on the Nicole Kidman thing, and a little bit with the William Dafoe.
And I trust the director. I mean, I think, how do I word this? The Lighthouse, I thought, was interesting. It wasn't nearly as compelling for me as The Witch was. I think it was compelling, but The Witch really was.
The Witch chilled me to the bones. The Witch legit scared me. It was a legit creepy movie. Just the atmosphere about it, the tone, the scenes, like just the coloring, everything about that movie was so eerie where you just always knew something bad was about to happen around the corner. That's the feeling I got when I was watching that movie. Like just this feeling of dread. And not many directors can pull that feeling off.
The Witch, I think maybe the modern movie I've seen the most, the most viewings. Like I've watched it a bunch of times. It's a favorite of mine. And I like the actress too, Anya.
Anya Taylor-Joy, Smith or
She's
something
great.
like that.
She's something.
She's good. She's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing because when I'm looking at when I look at that guy's film, he really creates that I think it was Kurosawa who said it, but I could be wrong. But that immaculate reality, to me, that's all I need. I don't need things to be utterly realistic. I need them to feel true in the world, so that when I
realistic
see,
to the setting that it's in. Yes, that's it.
Amen. You've got it. You Chairman, you just nailed that. Yeah, and when I see excuse me, there's been a lot of movies I've seen where I've been like, oh my god, like I liked certain elements of The Shape of Water. I mean, I love Guillermo del Toro's work and his artistry. I got to be honest, I'm not, and I like noir and I like all that stuff. I'm not chomping at the bit to see Nightmare Alley, which I know I would probably, aesthetically enjoy, but I know the story, so I'm kind of like, oh, that's gonna be. I don't know if I'm in that space.
I didn't hear about that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's it's a remake of although I'm sure it's probably a remake in the same way that Werner Herzog's Nosferatu is a remake. It's probably totally its own thing, but it's a noir. It's I can't even describe it. You'll have to look it up. It's kind of an interesting. Go ahead.
No, is it the one with Bradley Cooper and
yes,
Kate Blanchett? Okay, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the trailer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Del Toro's doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. Like I saw the trailer on Twitter. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and yeah, it's. I mean, it was something that I stopped to watch the trailer, but it's not something I'm crazy looking forward to. I'll probably watch it at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I am a Guillermo del Toro fan. That guy is great.
Yeah, he's got a really interesting vision, and I like how do I word this? When I see like there's certain kinds of violence, and it's funny as I'm illustrating this page, I'm saying this, but I have this very weird relationship with violence in my entertainment. Like I can watch like everything in Punisher season 1 I love. But like there's this weird thing to where if violence is exploitive, I want it to be really exploitive. If it's trying to be gritty, I want it to be really gritty.
Really
but
gritty,
there's this middle zone where I feel like it's just kind of not succeeding at either, where I just kind of feel like it's not it's like beyond tragedy. Like it's tragedy porn.
Okay.
And I think that it's like it's hard to describe, but like for example, shoot, I'll give you we'll spoil this for you. Sorry, kids. It's but it's an old movie. But in Tombstone, when oh my god, how am I blanking on his name? Guys, my names at this hour when I'm painting.
Oh,
holy god,
yeah, it's too
Tombstone.
late. Too late to think.
God, is it Morgan? We love him.
Oh, Bill.
Yes, Bill
Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yep. Thank you. Bill Paxton, God rest him. Bill Paxton.
Yeah, that's right. He passed. That's right.
That is beautiful.
Oh,
it's one of the
wonderfully played.
God, it's so. It's
great writing.
Perfect
Callback from the beginning with him reading books about heaven and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, and it breaks your heart
great
because
scene.
Kurt Russell, who full well doesn't believe in anything, wants to believe that Bill Paxton's character believes in it. And when he finds out that he doesn't, that Bill Paxton's sort of like, oh, I see it like you do. There's nothing. It freaking kills him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. I was like, all these people are dead now. Kurt Russell's killing everybody.
Everyone's arc in that film is so well done. Like you just look at Morgan. He's just this bright-eyed little brother that's just going along with his big brothers to the big town to strike it rich, and have live with his family, and then he gets into the law life. He's never killed anyone before. He finally does, and then that which his brother warns him about takes him down that path where he gets himself assassinated that way. And then just that whole death scene where it's just cacophony, trying to pull the bullet out of his back, the dog's barking. It's horrific,
someone shut that damn dog up. I always come back to that. And I think also there's the aspect of it where he's telling them, he's like, if you cross this line, these people are going to come after you. And when he says that to his brother, and he says, I didn't even make a dent, did I? When he's trying to warn him about it. It's crazy. How do you feel about hinting at violence? Like, oh, John just wrote, Shanth, how do you feel about hinting at violence like off screen, but reacting to it? I love that stuff. When it's done well, it's the best. Like it's some of the best stuff in the world. There are shots I see when it comes to violence. Here's how I word it, or here's how I would put it. There's some of the sickest kind of violence in a good way in the movie Gladiator. But when Joaquin Phoenix gets his, they don't really show the impact. You feel it. It's all about his eyes.
It's a very close-up shot, and it's just all emotion. Yeah.
Yep. And that's some of the best. And Hitchcock, of course, I'm a massive Alfred Hitchcock fan. I've actually got, this is how, like, I try not to sound too full of shit, just mostly. But I've got, like the Psycho Blu-ray is sitting like right next to me right now. I've got How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way over there. I've got my art of Tim Vigil Artworks, who's like one of my artist heroes. You want to talk about having a Simon Bisley cover? If I could get a brush-inked pinup from Tim Vigil before I died, if my campaign could get successful enough to where I could afford to get a Tim Vigil pinup, like of Nosfero, my freaking life would be complete. Like it's that level.
Sean,
yeah.
Did you talk to Dan Plagle about Tim Vigil at all?
No, we haven't yet. I may have mentioned it, but I don't think we've gotten into it.
So
I don't know anything.
Dan knows Tim, and they're like buddies.
Oh wow!
I can't deal with any of it though. This place is too screwed up. Dude, I know all this shit. Listen, all right. So I'm gonna tell you guys some stuff on this stream that you guys got to know, right? It's like I'm not. How do I word this? Okay, so like when my kids were born, I was going about 16 years ago. They were 3 months old, and my wife had postpartum, all that stuff. My son had colic, and my brother's out in San. My wife goes, "I'm gonna go stay with my parents for a bit. Will you fly me there?" She was exhausted, thyroid things, all that whole 9 yards. And and she goes, "Because you need a break." And I called up my brothers out in San Francisco, my 2 Filipino brothers. And I was like, "Guys, I need you to take care of me for a week. I got to recharge. I'm up all night, double bottle feeding with these kids. I haven't slept in months." And they were like, "Come out, we'll feed you, we'll get you lots of ramen, we'll take good care of you, man." And the day before I left, they go, "Do you want to go to Skywalker Ranch or do you want to go visit ILM while you're here?" Like these are the things that happen, right? And so I said, "Well, I'd like to go to Skywalker Ranch if it's all the same to you." And so they ended up taking this one. Yeah, Lucasfilm Animation had just started up, and these guys are great, man. Like they're like, I'm like, "You know what time I'm coming in?" And he's like, "I got your itinerary already. I looked it up." Like these are my brothers, man. Like these guys. Awesome. Here's the best way I can word it. I'm not particularly religious, and these guys are, and they absolutely live up to it. My relationship with them is, if they say grace when we're out eating, I bow my head. That's just how it is. That's how we roll, And it's one of those things to where they took me out to Skywalker Ranch, Lucas Animation. I was being shown around by one of their first hires. This is before Clone Wars had come out, and they were just doing their initial hiring for it, way before actually. And they're taking me around there, and I'm walking up the stairs of Skywalker Ranch, and I'm like, Joseph Campbell walked up these stairs. You know what I mean? Like, this is insane. And then I go in there, and they've got 2 Alphonse Mucha pieces on the wall, J.C. Leyendecker, Norman Rockwell, N.C. Wyeth, Howard Pyle pieces in like the foyer. Go into the library, and there's what do you call it? My favorite Maxfield Parrish painting in there. It's just insane. And I've found myself in these situations where I saw Guillermo del Toro when a friend of mine was working at DreamWorks, and I visited him. It's like, so all these crazy things happen. And it's like with the Tim Vigil stuff, I don't even wonder if stuff's going to happen at some point. I'm just like, oh, shit.
Good chance, man. No, yeah. Regal's known him for years from being at cons with him. Like he sat with him at his table. I was just talking to Dan last night, and because I would love to, talk to Tim about stuff as well in the future. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure, he does commissions and stuff. And he's like, I haven't talked to him in a while, but it seemed like they've done art for each other, and he was talking about how he might work with them in the future and stuff. So they're buddies and stuff. So
That's insane.
There's 1 degree of separation, Sean.
Yeah.
It's creepy, man.
Closer than you think, Sean.
It is absolutely creepy too, man. It gets weirder and weirder the older I get. Like I was telling Phil that like my brother like of choice, you know what I mean? It's like because the family is basically Lauren's side of the family, and then my family, and it's like and he was the first Shadow thing I ever bought was 1941, and Phil knows this, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, and I said, yeah, the Shadow book that was the Shadow for me was Shadow 1941. And he's like, oh, yeah, I was a colorist on that. And I went, what? He goes, yeah, me, Mark Chiarello. and I'm looking at him like going, what? And he goes, yeah, it really wasn't that good, that project. And I looked at him and I was like going, I will smack you right now. Like I will freaking Rick James you right now at the studio for saying that. So I actually had to send him the link to the Razor Fist thing where Razor Fist says that's the comic that got him into the Shadow. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
This guy is like, God, he drives me freaking crazy, man. But so I finally got him. This is what an obnoxious little prick he is, and I love him. He knows that. But I finally got him to sketch or sign my Shadow 1941 book, and he did this sketch in the book in paint in the dang book.
It's amazing.
Wow.
This guy is insane.
Damn.
He's done Conan covers, Star
right.
Trek stuff. And this is what a pain he is. This is what he wrote. He was like, for you, for Shanth, who likes this kind of thing. And he drew a line across and signed his name, circled his name there.
That's awesome.
I mean, he's such a pain. I love him to bits.
Wow.
But I mean, God, he'd do a killer pulp piece for you, Phil, if ever you're looking for somebody to do a pulp piece.
Yeah,
He
that
does
looks
some
great.
crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
That guy's a man. But yeah, he just talks. I mean, it's like everybody, and I guess everybody's got their version of it. Like it's like there'll be people I find out that people are like, oh my God, I love that. Like that's everything. And my wife, and I know somebody who I try to keep his name out of as much as I can, just because, and that's been that way forever. But anyway, we know this guy who's a pretty amazing show creator and has done some outstanding stuff in the industry. And like one of my daughter's friends, who was one of my wife's students at the high school, found out that, saw a poster signed from this guy in her office and said, do you know this person? And she's like, oh yeah. We went to college. He gave me a painting for my birthday once. And she just burst into tears. And you're just like, wow. Like sometimes it's like, I wouldn't burst into tears over Tim Vigil unless I was crying blood, because that's a very Tim Vigil way to react, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
sounds like. But yeah, Grips was my jam. His first big book was the book that made me go, I want to draw comics. And so yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Who
owns
owns
me.
that? Who owns Grips? Do you know?
I think it's Chris Silver must own it, the writer. And I don't know. God, I mean, who knows if it's lapsed into? I don't know. I have to wonder. I haven't seen anything of it published in ages. So, but Chris Silver would be the person, I guess. But yeah, I would love for somebody to buy that property and give it to Tim. Just do something with it, man. But it's seriously, it's a really cool character.
Nice.
He's still got Faust, right?
Oh yeah. They're doing the So I back Tim on his Patreon, which is definitely not for John's cracking me up. I'm Rick James, bitch. But it's but yeah, Faust is coming out as a hardcover. That's what they're putting together right now. Is a hardcover. And I hope they crowdfunded on Indiegogo. And Phil, you saw the stuff about Comicsgate on Tim's Twitter feed.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I was talking to Dan about that last night. He's like, yeah, I remember Ethan pulled that up. And he's like, oh, dude, the King of Horror, drew True cyberpunk. I just don't know why he doesn't embrace it and like do streams and stuff. Like I think he would kill. I
Oh,
think
He would do
Yeah,
really
I
well.
did you hear his cartoonist kayfabe interview from a few years ago?
Oh, it's awesome.
He was very personable and good speaker. Whenever I see him at conventions, he's just his head's down because he's grinding. You know, he does like 30 commissions a convention. You know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's he kind of maybe he speaks to what Ethan was talking about, or that we're talking about, your boy Zach talking about, not to get too meta on all this stuff, which is I think that it's a really, I think some people get really exhausted by being out there, and he seems to kind of hint at that in a lot of the interviews I've seen where he talks about he just wants to be in his tiny space and make his artwork, and how it took him a while to kind of feel comfortable, at conventions, which was interesting to me because when I saw him at conventions, I do think I bought something from him at a convention, and I actually did buy. They're kicking around here somewhere. Yeah, I got to show this because it's like it's so strange because I have to show this stuff because it's almost as if I don't show it, if I can find it anyway. Shit, I might be out of luck here. Then we can pretend it's made up anyway. No, I'll shoot myself in the foot. But it's like the Balaban and Katz book. Like I'll talk to you about, like, oh, I love that theater. I've used that for reference before. And then I think, yeah, but I've been saying that to too many things. Like at what point where I say, oh yeah, Andy Smith did a cover of my first pro job, is it just incredulous? Do you get what I mean? It starts to feel like this is some creepy twist ending of things, like where you're like, I'm saying I like that too many times. So I got this recently, but I've been hunting down this Grips portfolio. Sorry about the camera work here, guys. This Grips portfolio that was advertised on the first issue of Grips since in 1980 something. So I recently got this online. That's how crazy of a Tim Vigil fan I am. And his inking and everything in this was this perfect balance of cartooning. And there's a lot of the influence for Nosfero, funny enough, comes from Grips to a certain extent. It's like Mobius's Punisher drawing, oddly enough, it was an influence for it, and Frazetta's everything, Frazetta's Mars stuff in particular, but there's lots of different things, but this is his crazy ass, pinup stuff. And the thing about it is that on his eBay, he was talking about in that interview, which you watched, he was talking about, he goes, I live in poverty. Like at the time of that interview, that's what he was talking about. And, he's talking about how hard it is to do your artwork and to finish things out. And so it made me like, when he started Patreon, I was really happy because I was like, this is a way I can back this guy who gave me so much with his work. But then I also learned that he was selling his thumbnails and sketches on eBay. So I bought two batches, I think, of his sketches and thumbnails off of eBay because, I mean, I am a huge, huge fan. So when I say I'm a big Tim Vigil fan, I was like, I have to make sure that I have some manner of Tim Vigil originals in my collection, like before I die. It's got to happen. So, I'm loving these, like, to see his process. I mean, the kid in Chattanooga who was growing up there could not have imagined that I would get to the point where I would be holding like Tim Vigil, sketches. And you were talking about the idea of like commissioning him for certain things. I think he could do it. I'm confident.
Like, I was talking to Dan. Dan thinks he would do it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be badass.
And it's just like, crazy. You guys. Go ahead.
Did you see the Batman?
Oh yeah,
comic he did.
Fuck yeah, and all that implies. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be
Jeremy,
an
if you haven't seen
story.
That,
I don't
if you haven't seen that, Jeremy,
holy shit!
It's I think cartoonist kayfabe goes through it, and it's very. If you know Tim stuff, he draws beautiful, sexy ladies that are often naked and getting penetrated. So,
because it's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere.
Always.
And it's funny too because imagine like when I'm sitting down, like and doing my work, guys, like it's God, I have the weirdest mixes of influences for me anyway, that it's like my stuff is always going to be tied to comics. I love comics. Comics is my thing. And everybody who knows and appreciates the art form knows what that means. You know, it's that, you know, that beautiful quality, that the quirkiness of Wally Wood, the quirkiness of Frank Frazetta's cartooning, some of his, you know, crazy animal stuff. But when you see like how this stuff comes together, to me, that's a comic book face. Like that's a cartooning head. It's not a, you know, anatomically correct, you know, or whatever sort of face. It's meant to be cartooned. And the same thing goes with a lot of the stuff, you know, that I'm doing. When you're seeing this stuff, it's always going to be a little bit more extreme, even when it's roughed in. And so I'm always kind of playing around with, like, and there's range, right? You know, and you know this because you guys have seen this stuff. But when I think I sent you this, Jeremy, the other night. But when I'm roughing in this one, it's like getting, like, you know, certain things, like getting the leg right and everything like that is, you know, is really important. To zoom out just a little bit. By that I mean move my camera back. But it's like when I'm working on something like this, there's a certain amount of, like, when I get into this face a little bit more, there's a sculptural realism, but there's also that little bit of color pulp pop of that blue. You know what I mean? As it's happening right there. And, you know, you've seen this piece a million times. You haven't even seen where it's going, man. This piece, when I get to the next stage of this one, is going to be fun, man. But it's like,
there's another stage.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm reworking the skull because I didn't like it. So it's going to be sick. Awesome. It's really going to be
so
sick.
Badass.
But it's the whole arm holding the sword is going to be painted in. It's going to be a sick piece, man. It just is. Like, it's gotta happen. And it's like when you guys see the stuff I'm doing right now, old school Zoom, John says, absolutely right. But when you guys see the stuff I'm doing, I remember, like, I always look at it this way. When I was, when my kids were right about to have their first birthday and I was 29, and I understand a member of the Jack Show crew had just experienced this recently. I think I just turned 30. My appendix ruptured and it went south. Like the whole thing went wrong. Like they didn't get me in.
To me too.
Oh God, dude! Rhode Island Hospital. I know you know at least its reputation where you are.
Oh man, yeah. I got food poisoning from the public schools, and it ended up turning into viral meningitis. And yeah, my appendix almost ruptured. Luckily, I got in there and they got it out in time.
So mine ruptured while I was waiting for surgery because they put me down as an elective surgery. So I waited 15 hours, and like I should have died. Like I was green when I went in there.
You are so lucky. Like that
crazy
lucky.
My
God, man.
Crazy lucky. I was going septic, and I know the feel. I remember the feeling because all of a sudden what happens when your appendix ruptures is all the pain goes away, which is the worst thing ever. So you go from excruciating pain because it just broke. And so here's the gist of that. By the time I finally was going into surgery, let me tell you this, guys, there's nothing better than emergency surgery. Because by the time it's an emergency, you do it yourself. It's that painful. Like you just don't care anymore. Elective surgeries to me are far more upsetting concepts to try to wrap my head around. But you know, they happen. It has to happen sometimes. But it's like, but anyway, so after that, I remember coming out of that and laughing because I never thought I'd see the other side of 30 anyway. So when that happened, I was kind of like, all right, here it is. So when I got out of that, I've always joked that everything I have since then is bonus time. It's just how I view it. So I kind of, with this time I have, which is, you know, and I don't mean that in the, like, I don't believe in the almost dying thing because you either die or you don't, you know, it is what it is, you know. But I always say that it's like this, is that it does put things in perspective, you know. So like every year with my kid, I got to celebrate my kid's first birthday. Would have missed that, you know, if that things had gone south. And so I always look at things in that sort of way. And it always is from the idea and the attitude of having gratitude for everything. And so when I sit down, I'm like going, if I don't ever think, if I'm just doing Nosfero and then I realize, you know, maybe I want to be, you know, something else, that ain't going to happen, guys. This has been like a straight line to this my entire life. However, I do think in terms of if I were to get hit by a bus and Nosferatu was the last thing I ever did, would I be happy like with that's what I spent this time doing? You fucking bet.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
awesome.
that
man.
is what's going into this book. It is every art
And I
book I
see
do.
I see it
all
on
of it.
every page that you're putting out. Like you're
It's
putting
like-
you're putting your all into all of it. It's just I can tell that this is
Yeah,
definitely
so
the the best work of your life.
It has got to be what at the very least it has got to be worthy of the fans and the backers who are bringing this stuff together. If that means I have to really work my tail off to get those eyes
Oh,
how I
man.
need them to be right
Jeez.
there,
That's so cool,
That's-
man. Yeah.
that's
so
what it's
good.
got to be. Like it has got to be. You got to feel it. And people have to
I
see
love
this and
how
go,
everything
shit,
flows,
I need this.
man. Yeah, I need it. I need it. I want it in my hands yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I
It's
can't even describe to you
gorgeous.
guys. Like Comicsgate, you guys know this. I was in it from the start. I was like, this is where I've got to be. You know what I mean? Like this is what it's got to be when I'm doing this stuff. I need people to have a great experience. Like I need them to see that calf muscle right there on her leg and feel it and say,
Yeah.
wow, I bet that feels great in the hands.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's got to be. And I need them to get the full sense and the power. And you've seen me, Jeremy, because and Phil too, like we've had these conversations where I'm just like flipping through the piles and piles of artwork that I've got going on right now. And I just get to grab these things
just
and kind of
so
show
cool, man.
people. It's like,
Dude, does Nosferatu have a ring?
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. Yep.
It's so pulpy.
Gotta.
It's got the ring.
Oh, he's got to have a
the
ring,
book.
man. He's got the book.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got the ring.
Perfect team up, man. Nosferao's got the book. The Hobo on the Lost Pages has a book. Like magical book,
And so this page we're still there, but there's the ring doing its thing, heating up and getting ready to do
nice.
some curing. But just doing the background for this bit right here, that little paint thing was a breakthrough in terms of that panel for me. Like I really was like, oh, I figured something out on this. Like people are going to get something more on this page, like more on this book from me. And I'm really proud. Those are the tombstones I'm thinking about saying, hey, does anybody want their name on these tombstones?
That would be
as a
cool. I
perk?
like that.
Yeah, I think it could be
It'd be
fun
fun,
to
yeah.
see, and it's like, I mean, freaking hell, man. I mean, it's like this to me is like, I want this fantasy pulp horror, noir sexiness. And Phil and I trade artwork back and forth on Twitter and stuff like that. But it's like, I've got,
good.
I mean, I got to tell you, man, it's like, I will say this, is that one of the coolest things to happen in the final day of the campaign, and I thank Michael and everybody and Joe and everybody who's been, so supportive of this, doing things like a transparent nightgown, and trying to get that perspective in there, and having even deeper perspective going on further down that
That
staircase.
spiral staircase, every time I see that, it's just incredible. The perspective
Thank
that
you,
you
bro.
managed to pull off on that one
I
and the other
appreciate
one.
that.
It's just, I love that staircase.
It's like it's all about that whole like my guys in the chat, you guys all know this, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. But it's like this is the thing, guys. Like I will show this stuff and people go, this is a vampire story, Shanth. And I had this thin kind of artistic, like he swung his blade so fast there was this thin line of blood, and people were like, there's not enough blood in this for a vampire story. And I went, where did 14-year-old Shanth, like, did he die during that appendix incident? Like, what the hell happened? I know he's in there. It's like, what the fuck? So I was like, I've got to do, some gouache vigil action here. And, break out those opaque watercolors and make it like this has got to be a Hammer horror decapitation. Like, I need it to go, And so all this stuff, and for people who are asking me about, originals and things like that, you guys know this, and everything like that. But it's like the head sketches are the originals I can do for right now. And this is a pretty good example of what head sketches look like when you back the head sketch tier.
And that's an insane head sketch to get that level of detail.
I want them to be paintings. I want people to go. I want people to. I don't want people to give me their money. I want them to fucking throw it at me. Like, I want them to make it bounce because I want to be that happy, you know, when they get their work and when they get these books. I want them to go, holy shit! Like, this guy really like bled for this book and put the blood, painted some of the blood too.
Man. You're doing it, brother. I promise you that.
And you guys, seriously, go ahead. Sorry, Phil.
No, I haven't said anything.
Okay, I was just gonna say though, like, seriously though, guys, all of you guys in the chat, all of you guys, you know, who have been like sort of, you know, have been so welcoming of me into all this stuff, you know, Jeremy, it's like you and I go back now like a while, like since almost to the day of the launch, you know, and who've had me on streams and who've supported all this stuff. And Phil, you and I have been swapping like pulp. It's a blast, man.
It's so awesome. It's been so awesome to see. Like, CG really is it's the coolest place around.
2022, guys. 2022. It's like when you guys like these videos and you guys watch these videos and you get those hours up. Like, Phil, how far are we from 1,000 subs on your channel? Do I need to make some accounts? What's happening?
You're really close, right? It's like under 70 or something.
Yeah, we had a bunch of viewers tonight. New people from Comicsgate Kings came over, and let me check right now.
Shit.
I think it's
56.
under
Phil, you're only 56 away.
Phil.
Damn. Yeah, we gotta get you there. We're gonna get you there, brother. Awesome.
If we could do it before the new year, that would be insane, because that was the goal, to get 1,000 before. We already have the watch hours. We have over 5,000 watch hours. So.
Oh yeah. I checked my watch hours recently. I got the 5,000. When you hit 5,000 watch hours, the YouTube Studios sends you like an email. Congratulations, you have hit 5,000 watch hours. So yeah, I just got to get to the subs, and then I'll be there too. But it's fun. I love streaming.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, guys, because we're all closing in on different milestones. I right now I am only $210,000 short of Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog Blood Honey box. So guys, we are almost there. I want you to think about that. That is
we are close to defeating the evil
away. I mean, I think you can sort of hear me coming. You know, that's it. So remember that, guys.
After that, we're coming for Wreck Planet.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. I think we're gonna need. What is it? That line from Die Hard? We're gonna need some more FBI guys, I guess. We're gonna try to come for Wrecked Planet, man. But you know what though? I tell you what, those totals make me freaking smile. I love Comicsgate. Like my wife was listening to my wife and I were watching Comicsgate Kings. I don't know if that means that I have the greatest marriage ever, or if the magic's gone. Okay, I don't know what that means, but I will tell you this, man. We were watching Comicsgate Kings, and when Shane was telling that Christmas story, my wife, because I have equally beautiful Christmas stories, I'll put it that way, that I ain't sharing now, but they're up there. Yeah. And when I heard Shane, she goes, it was the sweetest look on her face. She looks over at me from across the room and she goes, "Is his campaign doing well?" I said, "Yes, it's doing great, baby. He can buy those toys."
Oh man.
I was like, oh shit. Like it's tough to watch good people hear these stories who can't imagine such
That's
things.
Hilarious.
But this is the thing, guys. When I backed Inglorious Rex, it was like a no-brainer. I was like chomping at the bit to back that book.
Yeah.
But when Shane posted about being able to get a new house and the baby photos, I'm sorry, I'm a dad. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing, man.
That hit me right in the feels too, man.
Yeah, man. Like such a well-deserving dude. And the same thing goes with Ethan and Andrea. I feel like I don't know, you don't know, like, I know it's kind of weird for them, but people feel like they know you and, they kind of do, but not, like you got a life.
Yeah. When you're a big public figure like that, must be weird.
Yeah. But Lauren and I have felt super invested since, 2018 for her, I think, because, she sort of was like, what is all this stuff you're watching? But, the you know, when they got their new house and their pool and they were sitting out there and enjoying it, I'm like, these guys had like threats and all that stuff going on. And it's like, to be in this environment, I remember thinking at a certain point, I was like going, CG needs, I kind of come down on the same side as John Malin on a lot of this stuff. CG needs more books out there, more people creating stuff and putting cool stuff out there. Because what we saw this year is, while it seemed like there was a lot of lag, you know, where people were like waiting for books, all of a sudden what happens is whatever time period they're on, they start showing up.
Yeah.
And so
And
you
there would
start
just be a
getting
tidal
books.
wave of them at once. Yeah.
Yep. And I feel like we're in this like beautiful place right now where CG was like getting up on its feet, but now it's like, you know, you're going to be getting something every couple of months, if not more than a few things a month until people stop making CG books. And I want to make sure that I fill whatever gap my book comes out in. If there's a ton of books, when my book is printed and shipped out, awesome.
Great.
If there are, you know, if there's a gap, I want to fill that gap.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, there was like, I think it was when I got around to August, I think August was the month I received, I think it was 9 books in August, in the month of August alone. It was the most I received all year in just that 1 month. It was insane. Wow. But leading up to that, the 2 months before that, I had maybe received, you know, maybe 2 or 3 in the 2 months combined. And then boom, just a bunch started coming all at once. It's crazy. It's awesome when those books start to hit the doorstep.
I mean, I was showing these the other night, you know, when everybody's got, you know, their stack. And this is just the stuff I have kicking around near me. The Lucent, here's the funny thing. I love the Lucent so much. I should have bought 2 copies of that, man. I'm not going to make that mistake.
That's why I grabbed the Crackhead cut, because I knew I wanted to have 2 copies.
I'm kicking myself, man. I should have gotten 2 copies because I'm so worried about you know, damaging my copy. I have it put away. Same. You know, so I only take it out to read it. It's like so completely locked in the box. But like this to me is like, look, this is like, this, people would never believe in a million years that these are indie books. When I was coming up, this is not what an indie book was.
No, not in the slightest. Any one of these books you could put on a shelf in a comic book shop and it would not look out of place at all. It'd probably look like the best book on the shelf, as a matter of fact.
You bet.
Especially these days.
I mean, come on, guys. Backing this book was a turning point for me as an artist.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
just as a fan for me, too, yeah.
Yeah, as a fan and as somebody who watched what he went through, I was like going, I did get 2 copies of this book because, you know, had to, but it's like.
I think I got 5 or 6.
Yeah, you were thinking, man. I'm telling you, that was a smart move. But it's like, for me, seeing like how beautiful this book is, how, you know, I'm loving the story pages I'm seeing for book 2. I love this panel. This panel is a total favorite for me. Oh, sorry, I got off screen. This panel where Cyberfrog's racing towards the surface.
Oh, yep. He's coming to the surface.
Is one of my all-time favorite EVS panels. I love that vertical panel. Nice. But it was, when this book came, it was sort of like, it was both like a statement of, you know, I don't know, felt like it's funny because people talk about backing these books as kind of like a protest kind of thing. And that's a part of it, but it's also like you're putting a flag in the ground and saying, like, it's like, to me, it was standing up for quality.
Yeah, it's like, I'm planting my mark, absolutely.
And you guys are seeing, like, this is the thing, you guys are privy to the entire process. This is a connection with your creators, you know, doing this kind of work for you guys that you were never going to see anywhere else. There are panels you're going to see right now that are going to change because I'm going to be like, oh, that's got to be moved. That's got to be fixed. And this is a documentation. Like, you can watch the birth of this comic book movement on so many different channels, so many different perspectives over so much time. It really is unique, you know, to be a part of it. You know, it's almost like a Woodstock, you know, era in terms of comics. You know,
I've never in a million years, like, would I have thought, you know, like a comic book, like, I've certainly never seen anything even close to this in comics. I mean, we had the old Image boom in the 90s, but it was nothing like this, where you had this direct access, and in some cases friendships with the creators that you're backing, in some cases creators that you've been fans of for years and years and years. And it really is a big part of what makes CG as special as it is that, you know, direct
Mhm.
communication link between fan and backer that's just never been around in comics before. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
these
to meet some artists and creators and stuff if you go to cons and for a few minutes and stuff, but nothing like this.
these guys like don't realize that like the hipster sort of posers who come in and wreck all of these fields and these things. And I will, that's not a rant, but I will be direct about this. That's what they'll never get, right? It's comics for a lot of us was a lifeline. It's what I had. Do you get what I mean? It's why I had 50, like not 50. It's why I have like 2 or 3 copies of certain trade paperbacks. Do you get what I mean? It's like I needed to have every variation of it because it was more than just a book to me, you know? And our interactions with the pros who took time for us, we always remember that stuff. When you were talking about Dan and his relationship with Tim Vigil, I had my relationship with my comic book mentor, like the people who sat down and said, no, you're going to do a panel this way. And no, you've got to, you know, put this into this, you know, element here. Like those things shaped me, but it also, I became fans of people like Billy because I met them. It's so fascinating that I met Billy a lifetime ago. I wondered what we both looked like at that point. Because I was just a kid on the other side of the counter. But it was like, he was so nice to me. I bought more stuff from him. I think he looked at my work, if I'm not mistaken. Like I was like, "Can I show you my artwork?" And he was just like a nice guy. And of course, his artwork was great, but that was maybe I think Michael's very likely correct about that. Although it's weird to think about that, it really is the connections with, you know, the creators that you get to have in CG. That's a huge part of why we're so successful. You know, we're not faking.
Yeah, without a doubt.
This shit matters. You know.
I mean, Billy, he gave me his warm cookie from the DoubleTree Hotel. Like, that's what kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
No, but I mean, think about that for a minute. That's a type of person, guys. When I was a professor at art school, I was the teacher who my wife would go, why are we buying so many art supplies from this? Like, we got to look at our finances. And I was like, I was buying those to give to students who couldn't afford art supplies. It is what it is. I'm not saying that because like, oh, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people like me out there. There's a ton of them. I'm sure you guys have got this to you too. But I don't know how to bullshit like what I care about. So I can say, you know, with all sincerity, when someone goes, hey, do you like the Crack Pack? I'm like, well, I made a song about it. Like, here it goes. But it's like, and people say to me, hey, you know, so do you like Phil's stuff? Like, what do you think about Phil's work? Well, I did painting on paper, a sketch, and this acrylic painting. Do you know what I mean? What do you think? You know, did I secretly go back in time and buy a Balaban and Katz Chicago book? You know, of the 1920s. You know, like you either get this stuff, like we talk about nuances of story. Like this is my best comic book story from my youth ever, and it's sums it up for me. The guy who introduced me to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original trade paperback from First Publishing, the original Peter Laird colored volume, introduced me to Todd McFarlane, my first trip to a comic book shop, and Tim Vigil. Well, we didn't have cars, and so we were like 14 or 15 or whatever. I can't remember how old we were. And Spider-Man issue number 6, I think it was, with the Hobgoblin had just come out. And it was the one that had Hobgoblin on the cover, not the one with Ghost Rider on the cover, which was the next issue, I think. Could be wrong, but I think it was. And I couldn't get to the comic shop, and he could. And so he was waiting to read it with me. And I was like, Zach, buddy, I'm not going to get to the comic shop, man. Just go ahead and read it. And he goes, no, here's what we're going to do. This is like, it's so sad and so of its time. He goes, I'm going to read it to you and describe the drawings to you. And we just sat on the phone, and he described to me like Todd McFarlane art. I would love to have a recording of that conversation, man.
That's crazy.
It was probably hilarious because he's like going, and then you know how Todd does this thing with his hands. Well, he's doing it in this panel. Like,
he's very animated.
Ridiculous. Yes. And it was the shit. And I had the chance. We hadn't talked in over maybe 2 decades. And I tracked him down and sent him a message on Facebook, and we did a phone call, and we talked for like 3 hours. He used to paint Warhammer 40K miniatures, and he said to me, he's like, wow, man, you've done a lot, and you're doing some cool stuff. He goes, I always feel like I was a selfish kid, you know, growing up, or like he was being hard on himself or whatever. And he was expecting,
Mhm.
you know, his first kid, so I think there was a lot of intensity to that.
Oh yeah.
And you know, like you've seen it with Shane and everybody. It's like, holy shit. And I said to him, dude,
A lot of
you
reflection
loaned
during
me.
that time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, yeah. And I said, dude, you loaned me comics. You gave me books that you had extra copies of. You gave me Warhammer miniatures, and I didn't even know how to paint them. Like, this dude was so generous, and he would like buy comics and just get me a copy of it. He was the coolest dude.
Wow.
When he knew I couldn't get out to the shops. So when I sit around and I'm packing up these books and I'm doing things where it's like, and you guys know this, but everybody who got on the email list for this book and signed up, I don't know if I can reach them because I have literally a pile of like artwork here. But everybody who signs up early for these books, I'm putting together a postcard head sketch. If you back the book and you signed up early, I'm doing by hand ink head sketches on watercolor postcards for the people who are on the early sign up list. I promised them I would do them,
man.
As a thank you. Like I will, you know, what is it? You know, I've watched too many boxing videos, you know, like Joe Frazier and all those guys. It's like, I was prepared to fucking die in there. It's like, that's, you know, I've done it now for 2 campaigns. So I don't try to I'd never try to promise anything that's not possible. So it's possible, but this is a special campaign, guys. You know, it's a special campaign. Just like all of them are, really. But I mean, you know, this is my first.
I'm loving everything I'm seeing from Nosfero. It's just, and it's really amazing to watch the process. Like you said, like you start here, you start with, you know, a blank page, and then just seeing these panels come to life it's an awesome experience to see. I think Tommy said it in the chat earlier, where that's one of the reasons why he kind of almost doesn't want the books to be completely done before launch, because he likes seeing the actual process of the book being made. And and to a certain extent, I agree. You know, it is fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's I think that, you know, I kind of come down where Ethan and a lot of other people do, which is while the idea of having these things done, you know, it's not an idea that I think is a problem. It's prohibitive financially for us. Lauren and I could not be doing this without backers backing this book. So you guys aren't just like, the book is a perk, like in that sense. Like we view it obviously like you guys are buying the book and all that stuff. But the thing about CG that's different is you guys are investing in our ability to financially be able to make a book. It's so big. And I kind of, to be honest, that's what makes this such a great process, because you guys are with me making this book. You know, you guys say things like, I'll give you one of my favorite things ever. Please watch the stream. And I want to point this out, guys. Okay. Integrity is kind of important, you know, to me on occasion. No, it's important to me. And but there was a stream that got pulled down that I re-uploaded for Ethan. I edited some stuff out. It was the stream where they showed the Woody the Woodpecker cartoons, and it got struck. I don't know if you guys remember that stream. And then he sent it to me, and I edited. It's hilarious. And at some point, I said to him, "Hey, you know, as a joke, I was like, Cecil, why haven't you backed my book yet? You know," just like kidding with him. I said, "Did you not like the intro I did for you, man?" So they went and they looked at it, which was really sweet of them. It was really cool. And someone in the comments wrote, you know, people were like, "Oh yeah, back Nosfero, here's the link." But someone in the comments said, "Yeah, the artwork's kind of cool, but this guy needs a colorist." Like, this guy needs, like, the colors aren't working. And it could have been a joke. It could have been legit. I mean, it's Comicsgate, man. I mean, it's like if someone doesn't call you a whale before noon, you're failing at life. You know, something's off the rails. But I was sitting there and I looked at it and I saw the comment. Now think about this. I'm re-editing this video, so Ethan can re-upload it. That comment doesn't have to freaking be there. You guys get what I mean? It's a very interesting perspective. But this is the thing about Comicsgate. I was like, that would never cross my mind, because I love Comicsgate so much. I want a record of everything. And here's the fucking amazing part of it. I think that comment, I said, when I read that comment, it had nothing to do with anything else. I was on the fence whether I needed to punch my colors up or not. This person pushed me over that edge. I'm going for it. If I can improve it, I will. Do you guys get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like you're right? Like, why wouldn't you care about what that person said? Like, it's not like I
Yeah,
was like, oh
it
God,
lights the.
and I throw it
It gives
away.
you a little extra drive, you know, a little extra drive to
Yeah.
do better. Lights that fire a little bit higher under your ass. You know, it's absolutely. You know,
Yeah,
I love it.
These books
I want.
are my Comicsgate history right here. The ones I've backed. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm that person. Like I'm in the chat. You guys know this. I love Phil and I are always, you know, in the chat. I feel like unless I'm dead out asleep somewhere, you know, it's like. But we're in those streams, and then we're doing streams, and it's like I love art and comics so much, guys. Like there's a wall of comic books over there, you know, and I've definitely sorry for my anti-weeb people, but there's even a large volume of Nausicaa by Miyazaki and, you know, background paintings and all that stuff. But it's just a wall of Mobius, you know, N.C. Wyeth books, the Crow graphic novel by, you know, James O'Barr, and like all these touchstones of things, even Tintin, Hergé's Tintin, Todd McFarlane, you know, Stelfreeze, Little Nemo in Slumberland. Like it's just a wall of comics over there. I love this art form so much, but I haven't had any people to be doing this art form with. Any artist brothers, any comic book brothers. I've been looking for them my entire fucking life. And in Comicsgate, I found it. And I will never let that go, man. Do you know what I mean? Like Phil and I back and forth on Twitter. Have you seen this shit? Have you seen this? It is the best, guys. And the people who are like fans to the bone, like I'm fans of this art form to the bone, who are like, we will back you. We care about art. We want to, you know, own original work by you. I'm like, I will make it amazing for you. That's the shit, man.
Great.
That's what it's all about. Let's see. We got Admiral Wackass says Nosferatu was my quickest see it to back it decision.
Damn.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome.
Wow.
And then he goes on to say Lost Pages 2, I didn't even need to see it to know I was back.
Yeah.
Hail Admiral Wackass.
Hail. Yeah, Admiral Wackass is the shit.
Dan Lawless is in the chat too. What's up, Dan Lawless? Awesome
Dan?
Artist, one of my new favorite artists.
Nice.
I guess
Hell yeah.
One of Kelsey Shannon's favorite artists from back in the day. Dan was doing stuff back in the 90s.
Wow.
He posted some kick-ass Marvel art he did for some trading cards. He did like a Hulk Wolverine thing. It's awesome.
Oh shit, yeah.
Nice.
And he's saying, what do I think of Winsor McKay? I'm seeing in there. I think Winsor McKay there are three people who I think are sort of the parents of their art forms or of their particular genres, like, or the people who perfected it, even if they weren't the first per se. I think Winsor McKay,
particular craft. Yeah.
You've got it. Yeah. Winsor McKay is American comics foundation for so many things. I think Hergé is like the first sort of perfect. I know there's a lot of amazing artists around Hergé's time. But I think Hergé and Tintin is like, or Tintin is like the foundation of so much of bande dessinée and Linclair style. And I think obviously Osamu Tezuka is like the manga god, like as far as you got to start with him. And so, yeah, Winsor McKay is one of my three pillars of sequential art, if you want to call it that, but comics, manga, and bande dessinée, like they all have their parents, you know. And then you go to people, you know, who evolve after that. You know, you've got, you know, George Harriman and what he did with Crazy Cat. And then you know, for me, the next big move that happens in comics is Hayao Miyazaki, which I know that may sound odd because Nausicaa, he's not really known as a comic book or manga artist, but it was R. Crumb in the States, then influencing Mobius in France, and then with Metal Hurlant. And you got Metal Hurlant and Arzak influencing Nausicaa. So that's another big three movement there. So yeah, I love the art form. And then just in American comics alone, in that history, which is one of my biggest histories, start talking about people like Steranko. You start talking about people like Al Williamson. I mean, you can go in a million directions in American comics. I love it all. You know, I'm absolutely obsessed with it. You know, it's like I'm totally encouraging book rating right now. I can sense it. Like as I bring up these books, like Phil's like, "Where's my shit? Where is it?" It's like Pulp Fiction, you know? Yes, baby. Yeah. Oh, I gotta make that. Hold on.
The Shadow.
Let me try to see if I can
Some
do.
Steranko right there, baby.
Yeah, let me get this online. Yeah,
Oh,
look
that
at
is
that,
good.
guys. Yeah, you want to talk about like this is the stuff that I look at to remind myself how far I have to go, man.
Oh, you're not too far.
That's
You're no
but
slouch yourself. But yeah,
let me
this
tell you
is.
though,
I mean, Steranko is
I
top
look at
notch.
Steranko stuff. Yeah,
Steranko is
Steranko's awesome.
the man, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like I look
And
at
then
this
going
stuff
farther
and I
back,
just
I'm reading this right now.
yeah, I mean, guys,
Okay.
seriously. Like
Shadow
we can
laughs
do
and voice of death.
do
Yeah,
anything,
these are
guys.
the-
We can do anything in Comicsgate.
Hmm.
Comicsgate is the best. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So cool.
I need to get.
I
I've
just read
always
a-
meant to get more into the Shadow, and you guys are definitely putting a good case forward.
Yeah.
No
I mean,
need. Just read the Masquerade. Just read the Masquerade. That's all.
just
you
read the Masquerade and just remember when it comes to pulp, like Phil and I, our attitude is always, the first one's free.
Mm.
We'll send you we'll get you. We're like, here, take a look at the Shadow comic. No, man, you can have it. Then you're just gonna come back, scratching your face. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
going,
I'll,
Where's
yeah,
that
I'll,
next
yeah.
one?
Where's that second one, man?
Yeah, exactly. I need some more. And it's like the people who here it is. This is like I wasn't even getting these. I was getting a lot of this stuff online, and then because Phil is is a bad influence, frankly. Those Diaz brothers.
Phil? No.
Well, here's the problem, right? I was laughing. I go, this is how protective I am of the shit I do for Ethan, right? Like I have every Comicsgate intro, of course, on my computer because this is where this stuff's built. I will not like outside of without Ethan's permission, I'll never play anything. But there's always a moment where I go when Phil comes in where I feel like I should hit play on it. I'm like, nope, can't be done. It's only for Comic Artist Pro Secrets. But Phil got me hooked on getting these, and I was like, I've got to get these and start reading them in order of what I can afford and get at the moment. But look at this. This is the bit right here. Like Dave Stevens did a layout like this for the Rocketeer. Remember that when he was like, it was an ad he did in, oh my gosh, before the first issue came out for Pacific. And it was this exact layout where it was like the Rocketeer in the background and then a scene and then all these, like the Rocketeer smaller in the foreground with all this action going on with mobsters. Because he was originally going to do a little bit more of a shadow thing with it, which, I mean, would have been interesting, but Rocketeer is perfect. Cool. So what are you going to do? But it's like, look at the fun we get to have, guys. Like we're making comics.
It's just, it really is a ton of fun.
And,
seeing these projects come together, being a part of promoting them, and just everything that goes into it. It's a ton of fun.
And when I say that too, I want to make sure I'm really clear about this, right? None of us are under any illusion. Like when I back Cyberfrog, I'm not having to draw those psychotic, detailed pages. And I'm not, God hear my prayer, bless Kyle Ritter. To color Ethan's stuff, I can't even fathom. He needs to take out a huge insurance policy on his eyes. Like, because it's a lot to color that stuff. But I'm not under any illusion of how much work when you're a creator and you're doing the shipping and you're a small business with your family, putting this stuff together, right? I know how hard that is, but I don't ever want to understate that when I say we're making comics, that collectively together, like as a group, the backers, when you guys come together and support a book, you are a part more than just buying a comic book. You are making books with us. You guys are our financial resource to make this stuff possible. And it's so different than just buying a book, which is great enough. Let me be clear, but this is something way bigger.
Yeah, it's much bigger than that. It's more personal, and it's just it's great. It's great the relationships develop over this. Between creator and fan, and like a lot of the fans in the chat, they just genuinely like supporting these projects because they like them and they like seeing them come to life. Seeing it from start to finish, and then it finally showing up on your doorstep. Just the whole process. It's great to be a part of. It's a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, and we're relentless about it, and Phil is somewhat relentless, it seems. Phil's just like go, and like we send messages back and forth at like 3 or 4 in the morning my time. I'll be like, "Hey, Phil," and Phil will be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Ah, shit, like this ain't healthy, but it is what it is."
Yeah, it's all right.
I love it.
And so let's do this, guys. Let's wrap this show up. I want to say hey to you guys real quick afterwards, once we wrap up this stream, guys. But thank you guys. We're 2 hours in. It's been so great hanging out here with you guys. I'm getting back on the horse after, the holidays and everything like that. I've still got New Year's ahead of me, but that's not going to be as big of a thing with us. I'll be still working and streaming. And anytime you guys, either one of you guys want me for a stream, just let me know. And if I'm not dead on the sofa, I will absolutely come in and say, hey, anytime you guys want me, the CG sleep schedule, people are saying, Shanth, did you know I did 3-book fully painted series for Star-Lord for Marvel years back? I know it now, and I will be looking for that. So
nice.
That's
his stuff is awesome. It's
I'm definitely going to check them out.
It's some of my favorite stuff, and I'm sorry I haven't seen it sooner. It's everything I love about painted comics. You got to check it out.
Yeah,
I will.
I'm
definitely
there, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm absolutely there, guys. All right, folks. So we are going to close out, and I'll see you guys in the green room after, but we're going to close out for, hey, Trevor, I thank you, and I appreciate it. Much love. Oh, that's so great to hear. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. Got students in the chat here, and then we got how to draw comments for Dan Lawless. Thank you guys. Yeah, y'all take care. And of course, I've got to send us out with with our song here. This is all about you guys.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?